Barcelona have just destroyed Real Madrid by 5-2, and in this video we're going to be breaking down how they did it. We're going to be taking a look at all 5 Barcelona goals to figure out how they exposed their bitter rivals. I want to start with this because this for me set the precedent of what was to come later on in the game. This is around 9 minutes in and there are really a couple of things to focus on here. The first of all, we have Lamine Yamal out on this right hand side. He's got the ball and he's clearly got the attention and focus of these Real Madrid players, but I want to focus on Rafinha right here and a couple of things that happen with this Rafinha run. So what we've got is, you see Lucas Vázquez here, he sees all of this happen. Rafinha's running in behind Valverde. Now Rafinha is able to be here because of the high and wide position of Balde, occupying that width, allowing Rafinha to drift in field, but he's going to make this run into the box. Lucas Vázquez has to communicate this, but he doesn't. Or at least I don't think he does, because if he does, then Valverde wouldn't turn his head right here, and I think this is a really important moment. Look at this. Valverde turns his head, and I don't think he sees Rafinha. So even if he did get a shout, I think he's going to have another look, another check. But remember, you've got Lamine Yamal out on this side. You've got Lewandowski being marked by Tchouaméni, and you've got Gavi being occupied by Rudiger. Now, what this Real Madrid side are really struggling with at the moment is movement. They're struggling to follow the movement of these Barcelona players, and Rafinha is a clear example here. It's going to make that movement into the box. But just watch how the space opens up for him here. You've got Vázquez here. He's not really marking anyone. He's just holding that line. You've got Tchouaméni onto Lewandowski, but look at the space that's being opened up between the two Real Madrid centre-backs. Now remember, this is 9 minutes in. We're not even 10 minutes into this game, and we've already got a major exposing weakness here. Rafinha runs into this channel, and although he doesn't get the ball because Yamal shoots, it's a really, really good precedent to start with, and it has the idea of exploiting space. It has the idea of movement, and it's something that Real Madrid seriously struggled with. I want to stick with that idea of space and the idea of exploiting space that gets left open for Barcelona by Real Madrid, and we're going to focus on a couple of moments. The first one we're going to talk about is Gavi. Gavi plays a really interesting role and he drifts over to this right hand side. Now this is for a couple of reasons, but one thing that it does really well is it drifts over Camavinga. Gavi comes to try and overload this right hand side and it brings Camavinga out just a touch, and that in turn just creates a bit more space between the two Real Madrid centre midfielders, between Camavinga and Valverde. Now it might not look like something that's too crazy here, but when you combine that with Robert Lewandowski and Rudiger, Rudiger likes to be really aggressive. That's his playstyle, that's how he plays. So when Robert Lewandowski drops to receive a pass, you're going to have Rudiger follow that, and you're going to have Rudiger be really aggressive and tight towards him, and I think Hansi Flick knows this. He's taken that idea and then utilised these two wingers, and they're going to run central. And remember what I said about exploiting space, the space in behind Real Madrid. Real Madrid played a really high line in this game to try and squeeze the pitch. It just happened that it went against them because of the lack of defensive awareness from Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, not closing it from the other side. But what they do with this high line is it exposes space in beyond. It means that players like Rafinha, like Lamine Yamal, are able to then break that line. And once they break that line, it's about how they then convert that into an opportunity. And you can see that right here. This is in the lead up to Barcelona's first goal, around about 20 minutes in. So you've got Robert Lewandowski here, but notice where Gavi is. Gavi is here, and if we just take a second to look at that, he's dragged away Camavinga, and that's left a little bit of space for this pass to be played into. Now if Camavinga was a few yards across, he'd probably intercept that, but he can't intercept it because he's followed Gavi. Now also notice the run of Lamine Yamal, who's taken a movement away from Mendy. We also need to mention Rudiger, who has taken an aggressive position to try and close down Robert Lewandowski. This gives Lewandowski the opportunity to play this pass into Lamine Yamal, and then you've got danger for Real Madrid, because look at this space that's afforded beyond that line, beyond that defensive line, and when Lewandowski plays this pass, it gives Yamal a perfect opportunity to try and take that space. But the move is not over, because it leaves still quite a lot for Yamal to do. He drifts inside, and I can't state anymore how impressive this movement is. For how young Yamal is, to take that with the speed, with that turn at the same time, it's really, really impressive. He fakes shots once, and that takes Tchouaméni out of the game entirely. He tries to block the shot, but he fails. He then drives forwards a little bit more and takes another shot. It's brilliantly done, brilliantly worked, and Barcelona score. But again, it's exploiting that space and exploiting the aggression from Rudiger to open up that Real Madrid defence. For Barcelona's second, there's not really too much to say in this instance, but if we were to take a look at this, it's obviously a penalty. It obviously is a foul. One thing that I will say around this is with the amount that the referee sees of this, I'm not quite sure why he doesn't give it. I don't quite understand what Camavinga is doing, and I don't really know why it wasn't given on the field. That being said, Robin Lewandowski converts with spectacular effect, and it allows Barcelona to score yet again and go 2-1 ahead. It then capitalizes on the momentum that Barcelona have and allows them to go forwards. But again, we'll talk about that penalty for ages, because this movement right here is really strange to me. I don't know what Camavinga's doing. I don't understand why the referee hasn't either seen it or has seen it and then not given it. It obviously gets overturned by VAR, the correct decision, and clearly it allows Barcelona to take the lead. Goal number 3 now, and if you're of a Real Madrid persuasion, this is probably the worst one they've conceded in the entire game. We just need to take a moment to find out what's going on here. So you've got Koundé out on this right hand side. He's got the ball. But what's astonishing is there's no pressure on him whatsoever. Now, I also need to remind you that this is your Real Madrid midfield 3. This is it. Look at that. That is astonishing. And look at the space that Gavi has. Look at that. That is incredible. Koundé, completely unchallenged, completely unmarked, is able to pick any pass that he wants. And it just so happens that it's far too late for Camavinga and Valverde to try and do anything. So he plays a cross-field pass over towards Rafinha. Now remember the movement that we spoke about with Rafinha off of the ball. Trying to take space, trying to take moments in between that Real Madrid defence. And he does it to a brilliant effect here. But again, look at this. Vasquez is just nowhere. He's not near him at all. Tchouaméni has no idea this is happening. Rudiger's too focused with Lewandowski, and you've got Mendy trying to, I don't know, challenge, but he's nowhere near the ball. He's not dropped in line with his defence. And if this is the Real Madrid back four, it's far too easy. And if you think about the space between Tchouaméni and Vasquez, it's absolutely ridiculous. But credit to Rafinha for finding this space, finding this run. It's absolutely brilliant. It gets chipped over the top. Vasquez is far too slow to react, and Rafinha does a brilliant job of getting a header on here. I arguably would say that Courtois probably could do a little bit better, but it's a fantastic header and it goes in and it makes it 3-1. Barcelona are running away with it at this point. Let's now take a look at goal number 4, and again, that theme that we've been exploring throughout this entire video, the idea of exploiting and exposing space that has been left by Madrid, it comes up again. This time, it's from a Barcelona counter-attack. We have Lamine Yamal with the ball here, and he's driving through the centre of the pitch. Remember, he's in his own half at this point, but Rudiger, right here, is the last man for Real Madrid. Valverde here is the second last man for Real Madrid, and look at the amount of players that you have from Barcelona who are charging forwards. The recovery rates from Madrid just aren't good enough, but you've got to think about the offensive capability of Yamal, the off-the-ball running from Rafinha, the ability for Balde to follow this up as well. It's absolutely sensational. So when the ball gets played through into Rafinha, it then becomes a foot race between himself and Valverde. He manages to win that foot race in pretty spectacular fashion, I've got to say. And when he does this, it is extremely dangerous. He chops inside. And what that does is it just wrong foots Valverde and gives Rafinha an extra option. But notice Balde right here. Rudiger isn't quick enough to be able to recover, and as this happens, Balde goes and takes the ball. Again, you're exploiting so much space here. Look at the amount of space to be taken. There isn't enough aggression in this Real Madrid side. There isn't enough damage prevention in this Real Madrid side or danger awareness. So when Balde ends up taking the ball, it's then driving him towards goal. Again, Rudiger can't get there quick enough. You've got Balde in a 1v1 situation, essentially with the goalkeeper, and he manages to slot it home pretty perfectly into that bottom right-hand corner. And before half-time is even up, Barcelona are 4-1 ahead. If you are Real Madrid and you are 4-1 down and you're looking to get yourself back into the game, you might think that you need to close down the opposition to expose the space in behind themselves. You might want to try and turn over play so that you're closer towards goal. If you do that, you need to make sure that the work rate comes from your forwards first. And I say that because of the space that could be exploited behind Madrid's defensive line if that press doesn't work. So for example, if Balde has the ball here and you want to try and pen them in, to try and expose them into this area, to turn over the ball, to better get yourselves towards goal, you need to make sure that the press and the aggression comes from the attackers first, because it allows and gives the defensive unit a little bit more time, a little bit more freedom to be able to either make that run or not. And when I say that, I mean that because when Rodrigo tries to press, if he tries to press, Valverde will come and join. And if Valverde comes and joins, that leaves space. And then what you've got is Vasquez. Because if Rodrigo doesn't press properly, and if he doesn't close down, and if he doesn't pressurize the player on the ball, he can't make this run. And he can't make this run because of the space that is behind him and that could expose Tchouaméni. And it happens time after time again. And this is one of the things I think might spell the end for Carlo Ancelotti's tenure at Real Madrid. The space is just too readily available. A change for Ceballos for Camavinga isn't going to change too much. It's about the ethos that's within the pressing nature of this Madrid side. And that got exposed by Barcelona time after time again. Taking what we've just spoken about, we can apply it to this situation right now. Real Madrid have been trying to pen in Barcelona to this left-hand side, essentially trying to get the ball away from Balde to be able to get themselves closer towards goal. They've committed a number of plays towards this as well. You've got Valverde pressurising. You've got Lucas Vasquez pressurising. You've also got Rodrigo here. Now, the problem with Lucas Vasquez pressurising is that if Rodrigo doesn't put enough pressure on this player, then it makes this run so much more difficult for your right back. Because what ends up happening is the ball gets turned over. The ball gets played through into Casado. Bellingham is attempting to make a recovery run, but it's not good enough. And then the pass gets played through this Real Madrid back line. Now, I need to really take a moment to show this. That's your Real Madrid back line. If we connect him with Vasquez currently, that's the back four. That is insane. Seriously. I know you're 4-1 down, I know you're chasing the game, but that is madness. And it exposes Madrid again. That theme that we've been running through this entire video. If you take anything away from this video, it's the idea of exploiting space, the idea of creating those opportunities and turning Real Madrid over. This is what Barcelona did brilliantly, to fantastic effect. Rafinha drives, he gets goal side, Tchouaméni does, but it's because Rafinha wants that. He cuts back inside onto his favoured left foot and manages to let fly. Reverse across the goalkeeper in brilliant, fantastic fashion. And of course, Barcelona deserve yet another goal. But again, it was the space that was exposed time after time again, the turning round of Real Madrid, the passes in beyond, vertically being able to run in beyond that line as well. Barcelona just did it to brilliant effect, and they thoroughly deserve their 5-2 win. But of course, guys, I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. What did you make of Barcelona? What did you make of Real Madrid? And what are the futures for both clubs? Let me know. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.